Denis Kucinich decided today to support the healthcare bill. And of course, this is creating a wave of rage and outrage and stuff like this. And I have to say that this guy need to get all the respect of the world for his decision, because I believe it was very tough for him to take a decision like this. And why I say that? Because I am a man of single pay. I'm a man that lived in Italy, in France, in UK, and worked in 50 countries, and in 20, let's say 5 of them that are in the top 25 in healthcare, I experimented single payer. I experimented what is called public option and public and private options. Totally different respect what the United States have today. That is the total private monopoly of corporation. It's totally anti-capitalism, and people defend this thing and they call it capitalism. Is ridiculous. But anyway, so I experimented that on my skin. I know the advantages on that. I know the quality of the services being provided, and I know how much money I saved based on these kind of services and these kind of things. The money that I cannot save in the United States in the same way I saved in Europe, because of having taxes rather than skyrocketing premiums for things like healthcare. But by the way, why I respect Denis Kucinich? Because he's a realistic person. He's a realist. He understands at the very end what the problem is in the United States. The problem is that this country is 2/3 conservative or moderate. And there is nothing you can do. People are so full of fears of everything that they talk about change. They want to have Obama as a big change, but it was just a joke. Now they complain about Obama. Now he is the scapegoat, the black sheep. Not by chance, it's a black sheep. But anyway. But the point is that the people, they really don't want to have change. People, they complain, but they don't want to solve the problems when they have problems, because they are scared to death by too many mental masturbations. If it's in contradictions with the Constitution, which by the way is a living document. The Constitution of every country is a living document. If you consider the Constitution as something that happened 200 years ago, you couldn't live with the Constitution, because otherwise the founding fathers should have slavery, and we should be in a slavery situation like the founding fathers, and women shouldn't vote at this point. Like, this is a message for Michelle Bachmann when she talks about coming back to the founding fathers. Probably she doesn't remember that women at that time, they couldn't vote, so she should shut up on that. But back to the point, this is the problem. America is 2/3 conservative. So if you are coming with a bill that try to change completely the situation in this country, people are too scared. They are not prepared. To be honest, it's only in 2008 people start thinking about politics in the United States. And now they are all political with tea bags, tea party, and other things. But while in the rest of the world, being in politics was almost normal. So you grow up, you understand the problem, and you don't just look at the headlines, but you go in deep in problems. And in the United States, this happened only last year at the very end with the election, and now it's continuing. So now it's a country that is growing as far as concerned, being politically involved and trying to understand the problem. But before, they didn't care. People didn't care, wasn't involved at all in politics. And I was surprised when I arrived in the United States 80 years ago about this lack of interest for your own country. And this is really bad. It was really bad. As a matter of fact, if you look at the difference between the United States and the other countries, in Europe, about 75% of the population votes, while in the United States it's 40% of the population that vote, candidates that are sponsored by the corporations at the very end, which makes a difference. So your involvement in politics is really low, and people are very scared to any change in this country because they are not involved. So everybody comes with, they don't trust. There is a natural distrust for everything because they've been educated only to read the headlines. They've been educated that you have to scare of everything. You have to distrust everybody. So you will never create trust in the United States between people because they have been educated that distrust is the law. That's the reason of the being scared of the big government rather than thinking about an efficient government. They are scared about, they want to have small governments that they are more bureaucratically problematic than big governments, and actually totally inefficient, and as you can see all around, totally corrupt, as you can see all around in the 50 states, that inefficient, full of debt, corrupt, full of crime, and full of poverty, and with an education system that is a disaster. So a person like Kucinich at the very end has to say, you know what, I cannot do anything. If we continue to have blue dot Democrats that are like Republicans, we will never pass anything. And the other problem in the United States is the legislation procedure. You have 60 votes, and now they are fighting because you have the simple majority. And then there is always the risk of the veto of the president. You cannot govern in this country. There is no possibility to govern. Which kind of government you have? If you become totally polarized and you have 60 to 40 anyway, nothing will pass. Actually, the strange thing, and people, they don't want to talk about this, that both the Congress and the President, they have more than 120 legislation ongoing, blocked by the Senate. That is much more than any other president before. So, complaining with Obama or complaining with the Congress for trying to legislate is ridiculous when you have an organism like the Senate that is completely full of shit. So let's try to understand what's going on here. And I totally applaud Kucinich for his choice because you have no other possibility in the United States. You have to pass what you have. People are not grown up enough for a better bill right now.